All right, hello, I'm here. Hello, Flavia. Thank you. Happy December to you. Well, I guess we'll have to wait a few minutes for people to arrive. Hello, Nora. Thank you, Nora. It is 9:38 a.m. here. We're just waiting for people to arrive. If you have questions, you can ask me your questions. I'll try to answer them. But I can't do anything if nobody talks to me. Hello, Mun. Hello, Sebastian. Nice to meet you too, Mon Mon. You're in bed already? Hello to Jamin, hello to Nemo and SSS, and Tatiana and Alexander. Hello, Larry. So once again, I'm here. The clock is running. You have about 1 hour, an hour and a half maybe, to ask me questions. So what are you waiting for? You usually need to pay for a teacher, but you don't right now. So for 1 hour you have a free teacher. What are you going to ask? Please don't ask, how can I be good at English? Every town has something like this happen. Is this sentence natural? Casually, maybe, Larry, casually, but I think I would maybe want to say every town has something like this happen to it eventually or at some point, right? So I would probably add a little more detail to the sentence, but casually you could say it that way, yeah. Larry, I don't mind those questions. Those questions are usually easy to answer quickly. Usually. There's a simple answer for those kinds of questions. So I don't mind those kinds of questions, really. It's not the small questions that bother me. It's the big ones. You know, when you ask something that's so big that I need to write a book about it, I don't like those questions. You haven't seen my dog. Well, it's morning. In the morning, she's usually either sleeping or she's at the park. So right now, I think she's sleeping because it's too cold out. All right, let's see. Layla, you want to know about, is that what you're asking about, is perfect tense? If you're asking about perfect tense, that's a pretty big question. I can't answer that, but I will give you this. Go to this website, okay, and then you'll find everything you need about perfect tense. What's my favorite food I've ever made for myself? Ray, I don't know. I love all foods. I love lots of foods. I don't know. I love pasta. I can never choose a favorite food. It's such a hard question for me, choosing a favorite food. You feel I've already aged. Guys, guess what? I haven't aged. I've always been this age. But I grew a beard. And now that I grew a beard, it has gray. And now you can tell I'm old. But if I go shave this off, I will look the same as I did before. Everybody is thrown off by my beard. Jeez. And you know what? Here's the funniest part about it. Guess what? This gray that I have here in my beard, I have had this gray since I was 19 years old. It's called a salt and pepper beard. Salt and pepper beard. It means that when you grow beard hair, a lot of it is black and white, like this. So I have natural salt and pepper beard hair, which means that even when I was 19 years old, this is what it looked like, pretty much. So I haven't changed at all. I just grew a beard. But I will tell you that in most cultures, you should be careful about commenting about people and the way they look. Most people don't like it if you say, hey, you look really old. Most people don't really like that if you say, wow, you're old. A little bit. A little rude. Yeah. If you're old too, then okay, but still, you should be careful. Okay? Thank you, Nora. You're so nice. What's the phrase when parents love their child unconditionally and usually in a disapproving sense? I'm not sure. I don't think I understand what you mean. When parents love their child unconditionally, but in a disapproving sense. I don't know, Larry. That seems... Why would you love a child unconditionally in a disapproving way? I can't imagine what that would be like. Hello? Maybe I'll go shave my beard off right now, and then everybody will be like, wow, he's young again. Well, yeah, we just call that unconditional love, Larry. Unconditional love. Okay, so what you mean is, okay, let me think. Do we have a phrase like that? I think we do. I'm trying to think of what it is. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's really just unconditional love. And unconditional love does have a negative and a positive quality. So, unconditional love is love no matter what. You know, no matter what is wrong with you or who you are or how you are, you love them. That's your when you have a, you know, if you have a child, then usually you should love it unconditionally. You should love your child unconditionally. But if your child becomes a bad person, a criminal, and you still love them unconditionally, but that's not a positive kind of unconditional love. That's a negative kind of unconditional love. So, to dote on someone, no. Doting is basically just bragging, like talking nicely about someone, right? So if I say, oh, he was doting on this person the other day, it means they were talking nicely about you. So it doesn't mean nicely about you because, like, in some sort of a negative way. To dote just means to say nice things about someone. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we would just say unconditional love is what that's called. Okay? I don't think we really have a specific term that denotes it in a negative or derogatory way. Should we gain more knowledge through books or the internet? You should gain more knowledge. You should gain more good knowledge. So it doesn't matter what you use. Books, the internet, videos, TV, whatever. I don't care what kind of medium it is. I don't care if it's a book or a video. I care if it's quality. So you should learn any way you can learn, but you should learn quality things. The problem is the internet, 99% or maybe 95% of the internet is pretty much garbage. So that means that only 5% of the internet is really, really valuable. Now, 5% is still huge. It's enormous. You have no idea how much information that is. It's a tremendous amount of good, real information. Quality, vetted, accurate information. But you have to be able to find it, and you have to know the difference between it and the garbage. And that's hard. Some people really can't tell the difference between the garbage and the real information. Libra, I will check my messages after my stream here today, okay? When we write an English email, should we write, I hope this email finds you well, because some people say it's outdated. I wouldn't say it's outdated. I think that's a personal choice, okay? I think I would only write that in a personal email, but not a business email. Okay, if I was writing a personal email to someone, sure, I hope this email finds you well. Why not? If that's your character, would you say something like that or not? That's really the only thing that matters. Does this sound like something you would say or not? Okay? If it does, then say it. If it doesn't, then say something else. There are many kinds of greetings you could, use. That's just one of them. Okay? In my country, my appearance, my figure, my face, I still look young, Teacher Mark. Well, that's true, actually. Compared to everybody else that is my age. Yeah, if you put me next to everybody else that's my age, you will think I look younger. That's true. like my salt and pepper beard. Yeah, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Like, again, Larry, I like to change my appearance. You know, my hair grows really fast and my beard grows really fast. So sometimes I grow it and then shave it and then grow it and then shave it. Sometimes when I was younger, I used to grow my hair long, really long, down to my shoulders long. It would take about 1 year to grow my hair all the way down to here. And then I would cut it off and then grow it again and cut it off and grow it again and cut it off and grow it again. And then, you know, I like to play with my appearance because I'll tell you why. Because your appearance doesn't matter. And that's why you should play with it. Because it's fun. Why not? But it's just funny. It's funny to me that when I play with my appearance, it bothers other people. You look different today. Why are you wearing a hat? You know, why did you wear a coat today? Why do you have a beard? You know, everybody wants to know why I'm different. Because I can. That's why. Because I can. Change the way you look because you can. Who cares if it looks bad? It's only temporary. This is all only temporary. Everything is only temporary. So enjoy it. And the truth is, I don't really like to have a beard that much. It's annoying. After a while, it gets itchy, but it's fun to do for a little while. So I did, and then I'll cut it off, and then it'll be gone. Can I explain active versus passive voice? Sure. It's not as hard as you think. The easiest way to think about it is if I say the dog bit the boy, that's active. The dog did something. What did the dog do? He bit the boy. Okay? I'm talking about the dog and what the dog did. Okay? So that's active. It's doing something. But I could also say the boy was bitten by the dog. Now, did the boy do anything? The boy didn't do anything. The boy was just standing there, but he was bitten by the dog. So he was just standing there. That's passive. He's not doing anything. Something is being done. Okay, so that's passive. All right, so if I say, let's see, what's another example? Okay, the doctor examined the patient. The doctor examined the patient. Now we're talking about the doctor doing something that's active. If I say the patient was examined by the doctor, the patient didn't do anything. He sat there. Then something happened. That's passive. Okay? My friend cut my hair. My friend cut my hair. My friend is doing something. My hair was cut by my friend. Who cut your hair? Oh, my hair? My hair was cut by my friend. Did my hair do anything? No. Okay? That's the difference between active and passive. Okay? So, someone has cleaned the windows. Someone did something. That's active. The windows have been cleaned. That's passive. So when you're talking about a person who's doing something, that's active. When you're talking about a thing or a person that had something done to it, but it didn't do anything, it just sat there, then that's passive. Okay? In your country, they don't like teenagers to have a beard every time I start to grow a beard. So, Larry, it might be a little bit different in China. Not everybody in China can really grow facial hair very well, is my experience, right? Like there is some genetics to this, right? Same thing is true with white people. There are some white people who cannot grow a good beard. They just can't. Their hair is just not. It doesn't come out very thick. It looks patchy and. Right? So there are some people who can and can't, and when you try, it doesn't look as good, maybe, or something, right? But my point is, because of the genetics of Asia, beards are not as common or popular, right? The only time that you talk about beards in Asia is when you're talking about the old wise man. In Asia, they like to, if you do this, they know what you mean. Right? Everybody knows this in Asia, right? So, yeah, that's all I'm saying is that I think part of it is cultural and genetic, right? If your genetics naturally have, a thick beard hair, then your culture will probably accept it more. Right? So because my genetics have it, my culture accepts it. If your genetics don't really have it, then sometimes your culture doesn't accept it as much. A bristly stubble. Yeah. Hello, Romano. Thank you, Nora. Okay, do you have questions? If you have questions, you should ask me. Okay? Oh, my back is killing me. I did something to my back. And my knee. The word sullenly, okay? You want to know what it means or what? You don't understand the word sullenly or how to use it? It basically means like gloomy or sad, to be sullen. Okay, so to sullenly do something is to sadly or gloomily do something, right? A bad temper, kind of just upset, right? An unsocial person is a sullen person. Okay? Man, why what? Why what? How's the weather? It's cold. The weather is cold. Right now it is -2. It's -2. Okay, do you have questions? If you have questions, you should ask me. If you have questions about grammar, you should ask me. I'm in Ohio. Have I watched Zootopia 2? How do I like it? I haven't seen Zootopia, or I haven't seen any of the Zootopias. I think one of them was on TV the other day, and I was flipping through. But I didn't watch it, so I don't know anything about it. I don't watch many new movies. A lot of new things I don't really follow, because well, if you want to be yourself, it's easier to be yourself when you're not doing what everybody else does. So, when people tell me, oh, did you see this movie? Did you see this movie? Have you seen this TV show? Everybody loves this TV show. Did you hear this song? If everybody likes it, then I'm probably not watching. I'm probably not listening. Because I don't do what everybody does. I do what I do. So, it might be good. Zootopia. It might be good. I don't know. I don't know. Which ones are correct? They had me repeat the message. They had the message be repeated by me. They had the message repeated by me. Technically, let me look at those one more time. They had me repeat the message. That is correct. They had the message be repeated by me. That's also correct. They had the message repeated by me. They're all correct. They're just written slightly differently. Which one is the best one to choose? I think the first one. They had me repeat the message is the most simple and basic way to say it. But technically, you could say any of those. They had the message repeated by me. It's just a weird way to say it. It's just a weird way to say it, that's all. Okay? So when things are popular, I usually let them be popular, and then I'll check it out later. Like, if it's popular, maybe it's good, but it doesn't need my help. So I don't bother, right? Taylor Swift, is her music good? Probably, but I don't really bother to listen to it because there are billions of people who do. So, because they listen to it, that music doesn't need my help. It doesn't need me as an audience. But there are other kinds of music that I would rather listen to, right? So think about it like when you go to a field, there are some flowers that are very common, okay? But there are some flowers that are a little bit more rare. And I prefer the rare flowers, okay? I don't want to just smell all the common flowers. They're common, okay? A daisy is a daisy is a daisy. Okay? Let's see. The tenses take a lot of practice, okay? It's not easy. It will take a few years for you to really get the tenses down, okay? Thank you very much, Nora. Why I don't watch TV? I watch TV, I just don't watch what everybody else watches most of the time. Sometimes I like the popular shows. Sometimes. But not that often, to be honest. Okay? Most of the things that I think are popular are so-so. Okay? I have other things I like better. Okay? Does smoke-free mean smoking is forbidden or welcome? No, it means forbidden. This is a smoke-free zone, means no smoking. Okay? No smoking. He cooked the food is cooked by him. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's correct. How to overcome the intermediate plateau. It's hard to keep up the work without getting results. Farah, the intermediate plateau takes a while to get through. Okay, it's a big plateau. It's a long journey. You can't rush a long journey. A long journey is a long journey. You just have to keep going. Okay? So remember that learning is a journey. Okay? A journey. It's a trip. You're traveling. Okay? And some journeys are very long. Okay? So the intermediate plateau is a very big place. There's so much to know in the intermediate plateau. So that's why it takes a while. But you have to keep at it. Okay? The suffix free just means without something that you don't want. That's correct. Yeah, sugar free means without sugar. That's right. Okay? Salt free means without salt. Okay? You need a lot of courage to live on your own choices. You do. That's true. You know what? I want to tell you guys about somebody. There's a guy named Al Jarreau. he was an American jazz and R&B singer. And I love this guy because I'll tell you why. If you see this guy, you will think he's very weird. Very weird. You will think his singing is very weird, but you will also think his singing is really good. So it's a very interesting combination because he's really, really good, and you can't deny that. He's so good, it's obvious. But he's also really, really weird. And that is also very strange because it's so interesting to see somebody who does things that are so weird in front of so many people, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all what anyone else thinks. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's like he's an alien. It's like he's an alien. He doesn't think about anybody else. I find people like that very fascinating. I find those people to be very admirable. Admirable. That's right, the madness of genius. Let me see if I can show you a little Al Jarreau. Very weird dude, but I swear to God, I really respect this guy so much because he's so weird, but it's just so good. Let me see if I can find a good example. He does something called scat singing. Scat singing is a kind of singing that where you improvise and you make up sounds, right? So you say like dooba 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 ba doo doo ba doo bee, whatever. You make up any kind of sounds with your mouth, right? And then you sing. He is an expert at this. Let's try this. Let's take a look at this. Hold on, let me share my screen. And let me make sure you guys can hear it. Tell me if you guys can hear it. Because sometimes the sound doesn't want to work for me. Okay, so this is Al Jarreau. Let's see what this is. I don't know if this is good or not. Oh, where's the sound? Huh? Oh, there it is. No. Go back. Try again. It's a terrible clip. I can't find a good one. Let me try this one. This is 1975. Why is this being weird? Forget it. I can't show it. I don't know why. But you guys should look it up and see if you can find a good clip of him.
First album. This is
Watch how weird he is. Now watch. He's starting to sing. It's so weird. But wait. He's in his own world. He doesn't care at all what anybody else thinks. It's like beatboxing, yeah. It's like a singing beatboxing. So, is it weird? Yeah, it's weird. But is he really good? Yeah, he's really good. So it's the genius of, that's just amazing. You know, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Yeah. Rabbit, you need to listen to him more. Believe me, Al Jarreau is one of the greatest singers of the last 50 years. Okay? You have to listen to more, and you have to trust me. I'm the musician. Believe me, if I tell you he's good, he's good. Okay? Yes, dear. I'm sorry, Princess Rabbit, but you have to believe me. Okay? Trust me, he's amazing. But the point is not even about that. The point is about he's not shy. He's not embarrassed. He doesn't think about anybody around him. He's in his own world, and he doesn't care. And because he doesn't care, he can do more. Because he doesn't care what you think, he's having fun. He's enjoying himself. And because he's enjoying himself, it's even better. Yeah, right. Look up online Al Jarreau and do a little listening. Al Jarreau. Okay? But the point is that there are some people who are very strange, who they don't care about what everybody else thinks. They don't care. And that's interesting, right? Because it seems like everybody cares. Right? Everybody cares what you think. Not Al Jarreau. And I think that's amazing. It's just incredible. It's really, really like a Superman, like a superpower. Honestly, he's like an alien. So, you can learn from that. You can learn from that. All right. I'm looking awesome in my beard. Well, thank you, Yusuf. See, look, in India and in the Middle East, beard culture is a little bit more positive, right? They like beards, so usually they like when you have a beard. Yeah. It's like a prison when you think about what other people will say and how they will judge you. That's exactly right. That's right. Freedom is not caring what other people think. Freedom. That's one of the most important kinds of freedom, is to not care what other people think, so that you can be yourself. But it's hard. It's a special kind of bravery. Do I remember you? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Yusuf. I have so many followers, and there are many Yusufs, so I'm not sure if I remember you or not. I'm sorry. You're in college now. Okay? What about classical music? I love classical music. I'm particular to Bach. Bach is my favorite classical music. I have everything from Bach. But I listen to classical music, but not too often. But I grew up, I did learn how to play it. I did study it, right? So I did listen to it. You know, Beethoven and Brahms and Shostakovich and Schumann and, all the different composers, Orff and all of that. I did listen to it, and I do occasionally. But Bach is my favorite because Bach is just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I every time I listen to Bach, I learn something about music. Every time. Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky's great too. Yeah, The Rite of Spring. Sure. William Wallace's voice. Freedom! Right. Yeah. Bach, Schubert, and Beethoven. Okay. You know, a composer that I love is a guy named John Cage. John Cage. He's not a popular composer because most of what he wrote was very weird music. So John Cage is like the Al Jarreau of music, of composition. One of John Cage's pieces is called 4 minutes and 33 seconds. The song is called 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And do you know what it is? It's 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence. That's the song. The song is nothing. That's John Cage. John Cage is bonkers. He's weird. He wrote all kinds of weird things. He did one called Clapping Music. That's great. I love clapping music. He did another one. What was that called? He has so many great pieces. Yeah, it's famous, right? 4 minutes and 33 seconds. It's nothing. That's so awesome. Can you imagine how many people must have turned that on and thought something was wrong? Like, why is this not playing? Where's the song? I love that. Or how many people must have been confused when he performed it, you know, and you have to sit there for 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, questions. Do you have questions? You know, you can ask me your questions. They don't have to be about English. They could be about other things. Music or food or culture or history or whatever. I'm not a genius. I'm just a dummy, but if you want to know what this dummy thinks, you can ask me. I'm going to spend the day reading. I'm looking forward to reading today. I've been reading more. Can I explain the difference between I see nothing and I can't see anything? Sometimes they mean the same thing. Okay, it could mean there's nothing in front of me to see. I can't see anything, or I see nothing. Right? So if I say, hey, look, and you say, what? I see nothing. I can't see anything. What am I looking at? So sometimes they mean the same. But I can't see anything could also mean, what happened? I can't see anything. Somebody closed my eyes. Somebody is covering my eyes. Okay? So sometimes I see nothing means there's nothing to see in front of me. Sometimes I can't see anything means something is blocking my vision. Okay? What is a syncopation? Syncopation, Carlos? Syncopation is a rhythmic word that basically just means rhythms that are not based on the bass rhythm. So, for example, the bass rhythm of most music is a quarter note, right? So if I have a quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you play eighth notes off of that, and the end notes are syncopations, right? So syncopation basically is a word that means rhythms that play off of the main rhythm, okay? And the main rhythm could change. For example, if it's Latin music, maybe it's a clave, and then you play off of that, right? Right? Yeah. What does pedantic mean? A pedant is a person who corrects people about small things all the time. So to be pedantic is to correct people about little things that usually don't matter, right? So if somebody is correcting you about something that really doesn't matter, like it's not the point, then they're being pedantic. Okay? There's two words, semantic and pedantic. Semantic is when it's basically like means almost the same thing, right? That's semantics, means you're talking about the same thing in a different way. Pedantic means that you correct people all the time about little things. Okay? You read in my post about shadowing. Good. Thank you for reading it. And I'm glad it was useful. Please read some others. There will be other articles that you will like too. So read them. Ooh, I forgot. Whoops. Let me get rid of that. What does buckle down mean? Flavia. Hello, Miguel. Flavia, buckle down is a phrase that means to try harder, to don't be lazy, to work more. Okay? It comes from, buckle down comes from boats. A long time ago, on boats, maybe you have a bunch of things on the boat, like boxes, right? So if you have a bunch of boxes of crates of things that you're shipping, right? But there's a storm coming. There's a big storm coming. So the captain will tell you, buckle down, which means that you take buckles, belts, and you secure all of the boxes so that they don't go overboard in the storm. All right? So the original meaning of buckle down means to get ready for the big storm. Okay? To buckle down. But now the meaning buckle down means to prepare for a hard thing, right? Or to do something more, to try harder, right? You have to prepare quickly and hard for the upcoming storm. Okay? So if I say, hey, buckle down and study harder, that means you have a big test coming. You need to buckle down. That means you need to start being serious. Okay? Prepare for the hard things. That's right. To buckle down. Okay? That's something your mom or your dad will say. Maybe your grades are not very good. And they'll say, hey, you need to buckle down or you're going to be in trouble. And it means, hey, you need to be more serious. Okay? Anyone else have a question? If you have a question, you can ask me. You should ask me. Can you say it for friends? Wait, can you say what for friends? Buckle down? Yeah, you can, but I don't know why you would. Masako, buckle down. I mean, yeah, you can, right? Like, maybe your friend, and you're talking with your friend, and you guys are talking about school, right? You're talking about school, and your friend is saying, hey, I'm not doing well in math class. I'm not doing well. Maybe you'll tell them, hey, well, you've been spending a lot of time with your boyfriend recently. Maybe you need to buckle down, right? So you're suggesting to them, you're recommending to them that maybe they're spending too much time with the boyfriend and they need to be more serious and buckle down. Okay? So usually the term buckle down, it comes from somebody above you, but it could be something you recommend to somebody. Okay? To buckle down. All right, let's see. Modern atonal music lacks any sense of tonality because the artistic movement sought to overthrow everything in the earlier classical period. Do I agree with it? Modern atonal music lacks any sense of tonality because artistic movement sought to overthrow everything from the earlier classical period. Well, I don't agree with it because it's not true. That's not true at all about... I mean, okay, first, modern atonal music, of course it lacks tonality because it's atonal. It's atonal because they chose to be atonal. It's not a pushback, it's an exploration. Music is like a universe, okay? Music is like a universe, and it's expanding all the time, and there are always new kinds of music to explore. So the classical universe is this galaxy way over here, but there's also the rock universe over here, and there's the, so what I mean is atonal music is a kind of music like its own galaxy. It is not necessarily a response to the tonality of classical music. I think it's just more like an inevitability. It's inevitable that music is a kind of art, and art will express itself in every way that it can, because art is like a universe. It's always expanding, and it's always... there's many universes, many galaxies. That's how art is. So, no, I don't think that it's like an attack on classical music or the tonality and harmony of classical music. I think it's just like statistics. Music is math. If you didn't know that, music is math. So, you can only do the simple things for so long, right? 2 plus 2 is 4. Everybody knows that. 2 plus 2 is 4. Great. Simple math. That's pop music. Simple math. Pop music is simple math. But how many kinds of math are there? Many kinds of math. But not everybody is good at every kind of math. Not everybody likes every kind of math. Right? So, atonal music is like advanced calculus. Not everybody gets it. Not everybody wants to get it. Not everybody needs to get it. Okay? But it doesn't necessarily need to be a response to something. The people who were writing the classical music were not writing it because, hey, we need to make something more tonal because things were too atonal. And the guys who were writing the atonal stuff were not thinking about... music should never be written that way. You shouldn't be considering it mathematically when you're writing it. You should be thinking about it emotionally, expressively, and then the math is just incidental. Okay, I know that was a hard thing to explain, but anyway. Yes, my beard is long. Alright, next one is what? Yeah, I know shaving makes me look younger, but beard maybe I want to look older. Maybe I want to look older, Alyssa likes my beard. And that's all that matters. Yeah, music, man, I like atonal music. But you have to understand what the purpose is. What is the purpose of dissonance? What is the purpose of harmony? Why do we make one or the other? And how do they help each other? That's music. So... I love Bach because Bach is so tonal and so mathematically... what's the right word? Balanced. Everything in Bach is balanced. It's so balanced. Nothing is ever unbalanced in Bach. But there are other kinds of music where it's unbalanced on purpose. On purpose. You know? Does anybody else have any questions? Miguel, how have you been? How's things down south? How are things down south? I am going to finish reading this book. I didn't finish it the other day. I started reading it, but I haven't finished it yet. But it is good. It is so good. I'm really happy about this book. And I will tell you, if you're having trouble with procrastination, or you're having trouble with believing in yourself, like you need to do something, but you don't believe in yourself, so you have trouble. Like you keep thinking, like, why? Nobody cares what I think, so why should I do it? Right? This book is great for you. This book is really good for you if you're having trouble with procrastination or belief in yourself. It's called The War of Art, not The Art of War, like Sun Tzu. No, the War of Art. How do I balance my life and my work? I don't balance my life and my work. My life and my work are the same. My work is my life. My life is my work. I'll tell you, it's very easy to balance your life if you don't have a job. And what I mean is, don't have a job. A job is something that you don't really care about. If you don't care about it, then when someone makes you do it, you can't have balance. It's not possible to have balance if half of your life is spent doing something that you don't like. But, if you like what you do, then you can have balance in doing it. So everybody who asks me about work-life balance and life-work balance, those people are asking me because they don't like their work. If you don't like your work, then it's pretty common to feel like your life is not balanced. Okay? Hearing. 你的问题就是太大的问题。How can I speak English better? 这是太大的，太困难的。Okay? 想一想。Think of a smaller question. Okay? What's the difference between implying, suggesting, insinuating, and hinting? Sometimes nothing. A suggestion is a positive thing that you're trying to recommend, right? So recommendation and suggestion are pretty close to the same thing, right? I suggest you do something. It's an opinion that you have that you're telling to someone else, okay? To imply something is to say something indirectly. So they're not saying that you're fat, but they're saying, hey, maybe we should go to the gym more often. They're not saying you're fat, but they're saying, hey, maybe we should buy more fish and not eat so many hamburgers. That's to imply something, right? I'm implying something. I'm not saying it directly. I'm implying it, okay? And then the other, let's see, insinuate and hint. To insinuate is like implying in a negative way. So if you say something that implies something negatively, then it's insinuation. Okay, to insinuate, right? If I say, I'm not saying Bob is lazy, but he does take a lot of smoke breaks, or something, right? I'm insinuating that he's lazy. Okay, it's to imply in a negative way. And then hinting, to hint. And let me think. Can insinuate be positive? Let me think about that. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's something bad or reprehensible. Right, so it's always a negative. Yeah, I wanted to make sure, but it is. It's always a negative. And then hint. A hint is a small piece of information that you give somebody to try to help them find the answer. Okay? So if I give you a question and you can't find the answer, but I don't want to tell you the answer, I don't want to just give you the answer. So I don't give you the answer, I just give you a hint, which means I tell you a little piece, right? So I say, I'm thinking of an animal. What animal am I thinking of? And you say, cow. And I say, no, it's not a cow. And I say, oh, it's a big gray animal. It's a big, smart, gray animal. Those are hints. Those are hints. I'm giving you a little piece of information to help you find the full information. Okay? All right, next question. What kinds of philosophy underlie different kinds of music, such as classicalism and impressionism, etc.? Oh, wow. That's a deep question, Larry. The kinds of philosophy that underlie the different kinds of music, that's going to be mostly interpretive based on what you think, not necessarily what the composer thinks. Sometimes music, for example, many people will ask, what does this song mean? What does it mean? What do these words mean? They mean whatever you want them to mean. Whatever you think they mean, that is what they mean. That's how a song works, right? So that's maybe the guy who wrote the song, he did have an idea, an intention. Like, this is why I wrote it. But that's not what everybody needs to think. Just because that's the way he thought it does not mean that's the way everybody must think it. Okay? So, philosophy of music is usually something that you think about after it's composed, not before. Because if you think about it before, you're thinking about it. And then you're not doing music, you're doing math. Okay? Music is supposed to come from a place of expression, not a place of computation. Okay? What do I think about how many people, what percentage like what they do at work? I think most people probably don't like their work. But I think most people don't like their work because most people were told that you can't like your work, that work is just work. You're not supposed to like it. You're supposed to just do it. And we are also told that it's not practical, that we can't just have people who only do work that they like, because then there would be some work that nobody would do. That's a ridiculous thing to think. Garbage. Nobody wants to deal with garbage, but it will get taken care of if you pay somebody enough. But that's the point. You do have to pay them enough to do the work that's not fun. If it's not fun, then you should pay them more, right? So garbage men usually make a lot of money. In America, garbage men are paid pretty well because it's a terrible job, and we all know that. Okay? But if you do a job and you like the job, you'll do it better. So you should like what you do. It's not a weird thing to suggest that you should like what you do. You should like it. Whatever your job is, you should like it. If you don't, that's sad. I'm not saying it's not common. It's very common, but it is still sad, in my opinion. You should like what you do. Okay? What is the meaning of a human's life? The meaning of life is to give life meaning. Okay? That's one of my favorite sayings. Everybody wants to know, what is the meaning of life? If you keep looking for it, then you won't find it. But if you just give it meaning, then it has meaning. So stop looking for the meaning of life and start giving life meaning. Suggest, again, is to recommend, to suggest. What did I cook for Thanksgiving? I cooked a lot of food. Garbage men in Arab countries are paid less? Really? That's interesting. Some people choose a job for high salary. And when you do that, Sushi, yes, you're right. Many people, they don't think about if they like it. They only think about if it makes a lot of money. Because they think, oh, well, I don't need to like it. I just need it to pay me a lot of money. Because then I can go do the things I like. Sure, you can do that. But I don't think that's a good society. Come on, let's just think for just a minute. Here are two societies. One society encourages people to do the work that they like to do. Okay? They encourage them to like their work. The other society only encourages you to do what you are paid for. Which society is going to have a higher quality of work? The one who likes what they do, or the one who's paid well? If you have a child, do you want your child to see the doctor who does it for the money, or do you want your child to see the doctor who does it because they love medicine? If you have a child, do you want your child to be taught by the teacher who does it just for the money, or do you want your child taught by the person who does it because they love it? If your car is broken and you have a choice of going to two people, one guy does it just for the money, the other guy really loves cars, who's going to fix your car better? Every single job, if you like it, you will do it better. So we should encourage people to do the work they like. We should. Especially now, because especially now we are reaching a point where all those jobs that people say, well, we need somebody to be a garbage man. Yeah, we do. But that can be done by robots very soon. So the garbage man job that nobody wants, very soon that will be a robotic job. Most garbage men will probably be robots very soon. It's going to be one of the first jobs that's replaced. Because nobody wants to do that job. So that job will be replaced by somebody who doesn't care about whether it's a good job or a bad job. Robots. So, yeah. There are many young people like me who lose their jobs right after graduation. That's true here also. In America. A lot of kids go to college and they get a job and they get fired right away, or they don't get a job. They don't find a job. Many people, they graduate from college and they don't find a job. Yeah. And most Americans go to school and they study something, but they get a job in a completely different field. It's kind of weird. Because here's why it's weird. Because most of the people who went to school, they went to school because they said, oh, if I go to college, I'll make more money. But then you went to school and you studied whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. But then you end up with a job doing something completely different. It's, it's kind of stupid. What was the point of spending all that money on your education? Yeah. Especially because education doesn't teach you anything anymore. Education only teaches you how to make more money. It's sad. It's pathetic. It's sick. Education is about you becoming a better you. That's what education is. So when you're uneducated, all I see is somebody who's not as good as they could be. I see a failure of potential when I see somebody who doesn't like to learn. I see a failure of potential. Okay. Any questions? I have been here for 1 hour and 18 minutes. You have about 10 more minutes? 10 or 12 more minutes to ask me questions. So you should ask me, because I want to go eat my lunch and read my book. I have many books I'm reading. You should read. If you don't read, that's sad. Caesar, what do you want to talk about? Okay? I don't just invite people up who just raise their hand. You have to have a question, or you have to have a topic. Okay? You can't just say, "What's up, bro?" Okay? You gotta have something to talk about. Alright? Why reading? Why is reading important? Why is learning important? Reading is the best technology we have. Reading is a better technology than AI. Reading is a better technology than computers. So you should read. You're trying to have passion. Okay, Haley? Find the things that you're curious about. Everything that you're curious about, those are things that you could be passionate about. Okay? Hello, Carolina. How are you? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Anytime you start off a conversation with bro, it's a bad idea. Okay? Please look at me, everybody in the room. If you don't know me, you shouldn't call me bro. Okay? If you don't know me, you shouldn't call me bro. Okay? That's number one. All right? I know it's a friendly thing. I know it's friendly. You think it's friendly. But if I don't know you, it's actually not friendly. It's actually rude. If you didn't know that. If you call somebody a friendly name without knowing them, some people think that's rude. Okay? Well, Caesar, do you have anything to... We've been talking about life. Maybe you want to join the conversation. Okay? Join the conversation we're talking about already. You watched a video where a woman was talking about blue-collar men. You want to know about the word white-collar and blue-collar? So a long time ago, Carolina, it's still today, many jobs have a uniform, right? Carolina, if you go to if you need your car fixed, you take your car to the mechanic, what kind of uniform does the mechanic usually wear? What color? Do you know? Maybe it's different in other countries. I'm not sure. So let's find out. Blue. There you go. Blue. That's exactly right. And that's why they call them blue collar workers. So if you work in a factory, maybe your uniform is blue. If you're a mechanic, blue, right? So let me show you blue collar work. Okay, so take a look at these here. Oops, wrong one. What color are their uniforms? Blue. So they are blue collar workers. Okay? But if you work in an office, white, okay, mostly white, okay, especially a long time ago. In the 1950s, right? Like, let's look at the 1950s or 60s. Let's say 1960s. Look at all the shirts. Look at every shirt on every guy. White. All white shirts. So office work is white collar work. Working in a factory, doing things with your hands, that's blue collar work. Okay? So there you go. Legend says, but in our country, they usually wear light green or yellow. Right. So that's what I mean. This is a term in America that it might not be true everywhere. But in America, when we talk about blue-collar jobs, it means any job that's like a job with your hands, where you have to work on something in a factory or a mechanic or something like that. A job where you do something with your hands, right? A white-collar job is an office job where you're typing or you're doing something with a computer, okay? Okay, and what is the infer, implicate, and intimate? So infer and intimate are kind of the same. To infer is to imply. Imply, infer, intimate are pretty much the same. Okay? Implicate means to blame somebody or to say someone was responsible for something, right? So if I say the man was arrested for robbery and his brother was also implicated in the crime. So that means somebody said his brother was also involved. His brother was part of it. He was implicated. Somebody said he was part of it. Okay? What about, hey guys, is it polite when you want to start a conversation? Good question, Blue Sky, and I will say sometimes yes and sometimes no. Mostly yes. Okay? Guys is still a word that we use to mean everyone. But it recently, in the last 5 or 10 years, there have been more people who have, they don't like the word guys because it's only about guys. Right? It's just about men. But it's not supposed to be. When we say, hey guys, if I say, hey guys, listen to me right now, I'm not only talking about just the boys and the men, I'm talking about everybody. But this is a term of patriarchal nature. That's the way we used to talk. Okay? So, my answer is it okay to say, hey guys? Mostly yes. But somebody might say, hey, I'm not a guy. Somebody might say, I'm a girl. Why did you call me a guy? Okay? Can it be an insult to call somebody blue collar or white collar? Maybe it could be an insult, but I think that's only if you think that way, right? If you think blue collar jobs are bad jobs or something, then maybe you'll talk about it that way. But I don't think the term by itself, I don't think that the term means anything bad or good. They're just describing different kinds of work. Okay? Implicate could also mean convey something indirectly. Well, yes, but usually it means to convey somebody did something. Convey blame, Mary. Usually implicating is to convey blame. Okay? To infer is to just convey something indirectly. But to implicate usually means to convey blame indirectly. But actually, no, not necessarily. To implicate could be directly, I think. Let me double check. Yes. Yeah. So an implication can be a direct or an indirect implication, right? So if I implicate somebody, that's usually just direct. He did it. Okay? But I could have an indirect implication, which means I don't know if he did it, but he looks guilty. Or I don't know if he did it, but he told somebody he did it. Whatever. I'm implicating them indirectly now, right? So implicate is always about conveying blame, I think. Okay? And thank you for saying that, Legend. That's what most people really should do. If you join my live stream, just stay and listen for 5 or 10 minutes. Before you ask a question, just listen and see what we're doing. You know? What about if I say his gesture suggests something? Yeah, that's indirect. That's an implication of, like, indirect nature, right? So if I say he's gesturing that, you know, like he needs help, right? You know, maybe your friend is at a party and they're nervous and they're talking to some people, but they're really nervous. So you see them kind of like, they're talking to the people, but over here they're kind of looking at you like, you know, like that's a gesture of like, please come help me. They're trying to gesture to you to do something, you know. But that would be, whether that's direct or indirect, that's kind of up to you to decide. Because it's direct, because they are directing you. But it's subtle, so it could be considered indirect. Okay? How can you flirt and impress girls well? You can't, man. Girls are smart. If you want to impress them, then you have to be impressive. It's very simple. If you want to impress someone, girls or boys, you have to be impressive. That's all. So, here's the one question that you need to ask yourself. Okay? I didn't learn this till I was about 30 years old. Okay? But what you need to ask yourself is, look in the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror, and then I want you to ask yourself, would you date you? Would you date you? Look at what you have to offer. Think about what you have to offer. Do you have anything to offer? If you don't, then that's why they're not talking to you. Okay, and I don't mean money. I don't mean money. I'm not talking about money. Money is the dumbest and cheapest and easiest way to get attention, but it's never a good way to get actual nobody will really care about you who you're paying. Okay? If it's about the money, then they don't really care about you. Okay? But why does a bee go to a flower? Why does a bee go to a flower? Because the flower is interesting. Are you? That's my question. If you're not interesting, they will not be interested. But if you are interesting, then they will be interested. So, I'm a musician. I play drums. Many people think that's interesting. I'm a teacher. I teach international students all over the world. Many people think that's interesting. I speak Chinese and I know a lot about languages. Many people think that's interesting. I cook. I love to cook, and I cook well. Many people think that's interesting. So, if the bees are not going to that flower, then that flower is not interesting. Be an interesting flower, and the bees will come to you. That's the best advice I can give about girls. All right? And it's true the other way, too. It works for girls if you're interested in guys. The same thing is true. You still have to be interesting. Okay? You still have to be interesting. If you're beautiful, that's great. But that's not going to keep the guy. If you're a hot girl, that's great. But it's not going to keep anybody. Being hot doesn't keep you. You have to be interesting. You have to be interesting. Okay? Why does the bee go to the flower? Okay? The flower doesn't talk about, oh, the bees don't come to me. Why don't the bees come to me? No, the flower works on being better. If the flower is a better flower, the bees will come. You don't complain about the bees. You work on being a better flower. Okay? Thank you. Okay, let's see. In that case, we can say she is suggesting help or implying. I would say suggesting help. Yeah. And here's the other thing I will say about this is for the guys, okay? Desperation is a stinky perfume. Desperation is a stinky perfume. Okay, what that means is the more desperate you seem, that's not attractive. Okay? If you look like, please love me, please be with me, please talk to me, that's not attractive. That is not attractive. Okay, so desperation is a stinky perfume. It's a stinky cologne. You have to feel like you're not desperate. Okay? And that means that you have to be comfortable being alone. You have to be comfortable being yourself. Okay? A lot of people are not comfortable being alone, so they have to be with someone. That's not good. That's never good. When you have to be with someone, that means you accept things that you shouldn't. Okay? Why are bad boys more attractive to girls? Well, there are a lot of stupid people in the world. men and women. Okay? Stupid boys love toys, and stupid girls love boys with toys. But I don't care what stupid people do because they're stupid. So, stupid people do stupid things. That doesn't make me admire them. Okay? All right? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's the other thing I will tell you is another piece of advice that I didn't know until I was probably in my 30s was all of you are desperate to be with someone, but most of you are not completely developed yet. You're undeveloped. So, if you meet the perfect person for you, you meet the perfect girl or you meet the perfect guy, but you aren't ready because you didn't work on yourself. You are still immature. You're a child. So guess what? If you meet the perfect person, but you are not ready because you did not challenge yourself, you did not develop yourself, you did not grow, then when you meet that perfect person, it won't work out because you are a baby. You didn't develop yourself. Okay? So sometimes you're worried about finding the right person, but I'm telling you that if you find the right person, you have to be the right person too. That means you have to be ready for them. So you have to start working on yourself. All right? Why don't relationships work out? Most of them. The reason why most relationships don't work out is because you don't have two complete people. Most relationships are two partial people. So you have a man who's not fully developed, who's with a woman who's not fully developed. So they are together now. And now they're going to have problems. Why? Because they're not fully developed. So of course they're going to have problems. But if you develop yourself, both of you, then when you get together, you can work as a team. Together. Is it all of you? Of. The F in OF is pronounced like a V. Of. Okay? Not of. Of. Okay? Lien. Alright, guys, it has been an hour and 40 minutes. It's time for me to go. It's time for me to go. How can you work on yourself? You have a good job and you're a nice and kind guy. Okay? So what talents do you have? What skills do you have? What do you like to do for fun? Do you cook? Do you go fishing? Do you garden? Do you read? What do you do? What are your interests? You said you have a good job and you're a nice guy. Okay, but there are a lot of people with a good job and they're nice guys. So how are you special? How are you special? What do you have to offer? Think about this. When you walk down the beach and you pick up a rock, why do you pick up that rock or that shell? Why? Why not the other one? Why did you pick up that one? Because it's special. You thought that one was special somehow. That's why you picked it. So are you special? If not, then you better find a way. Okay? Is it a good match in terms of social status? I don't give a shit about social status. I don't care about social status. Social status is, ugh. Who thinks about that? Not me. Be a good person. That's the only social status you need. Be a good person. Okay? Being rich means nothing if you're not good. Being rich means nothing if you are not good. Most of the people who are rich, not good. Sorry. I know that disappoints you. But most of the people who are rich are not good. Okay, I have to go. I will see you guys next time. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening, wherever you live. And come back and see me next time. Okay? Oh, before I go, here is my website. Here is my YouTube. And here is my blog. If you like what I say, you should go check those out. Okay? All right. I will see you guys next time. Okay? Bye, everybody.